Well, hi there, food friends. It's Kevin. Welcome to Cavalcade of Food. Today we are going to take a look at punch bowls from our vintage houseware collection here. I have been buying punch bowls for almost 40 years, and I love punch bowls. And their time was that people actually entertained at home. I know they actually had people come to their house. This isn't something that happens very frequently anymore. We have gotten away from entertaining at home, and especially to the degree that we once did, and we are now more just wanting to meet at a restaurant somewhere or something like that rather than have people in the house because, well, I suppose there's a lot of reasons why. Things change, and here we are. But back in the mid-20th century, when people did entertain a lot at home, one thing that many households had was a punch bowl. Did you have one in your house? Maybe you did if you're a certain age like me. Maybe you even had more than one. But most homes had punch bowls, and they were reserved for parties of different kinds, some celebration. And maybe your mom or your grandma or you, somebody had a favorite punch recipe that they would make when company came over, and it was a big hit. What I like to do, because I still love to entertain, and sometimes I entertain at home, if it's a small group or if it's a few more people, I entertain right here at the Cavalcade, and I might do a punch bowl or two or three even. What I find it fun to do is to have a punch that is for everybody, non-alcoholic, and then I may use a punch bowl and make a punch full of whiskey sours or old fashions or vodka cranberry. And those are the cocktails of the night, and people can help themselves at the punch bowl. I like to use punch bowls that way. And you're going to hear it here first, because I always like to think that the Cavalcade is setting the trend and ahead of the trend. We may just see a resurgence in the punch bowl as a focal point of entertaining for those who still entertain at home. I hope so. But join me as I look at just a sampling of punch bowls. Again, I have been buying punch bowls for years. I don't buy them anymore. I have so many, dozens and dozens and dozens. I couldn't even bring them all out, but I tried to do sort of a representative sample of styles and manufacturers of punch bowls, of which there were a number here in the United States. So let's take a look at this edition of Vintage Housewares Punch Bowls. Okay, let's start here. I have got a couple of examples here of punch bowls that came with a frame, a wire frame. And you can see this one here has this sort of gold-toned metal frame, and you have a punch bowl in the center with a gold rim to match the metal frame. And then we have all of these cups, I think there are 12, around the edges. And you'll note that the frame sort of has these extensions that are made perfectly to hold these cups. So often punch bowls would come with these hooks, and you would hook, of course, to the edge of the bowl and hang the cup from the hook. Here's an example of one that has a built-in holder for each cup, kind of making it easy for guests to grab a cup and help themselves. Sometimes those hooks, when you took a cup, sometimes they would flip over and actually land into the punch. So this is actually kind of really a nice alternative. And then we have another framed punch bowl here. This one has a black metal frame, Now this does have the plastic hooks for the cups, but what I always loved about this one is this beautiful punch bowl, and it has this beautiful hand-painted tulip design that goes all the way around. I just always thought it looked really nice, and it's a smallish punch bowl. This is perfect for, like, 8 people. It'd be something nice to serve, like for people who are having a bridge party, again, a thing of the past, or a small gathering. This is really a nice punch bowl. And again, I love that it's in a frame on a little stand, and it really sort of shows off the hand painting. And then next to it, let me zoom out. There we go. This, my friends, is the Anchor Hocking Early American Press Cut Punch Bowl. Now, I did a whole video on this pattern by Anchor Hocking, Early American Press Cut. And this is their punch bowl in all of its glory. And you can see it's a 2-piece unit with a stand, and then the punch bowl sits on top. You didn't have to use the stand, but oh, what a glorious presentation it makes. Here's our punch bowl. The cups would come with hooks, and the cups were intended to hang onto the side. This is the cup for this pattern, Early American Press Cut. And you can see here it's got these really nice, sort of a soft, scalloped edge design that goes all the way around. And that is the Early American Press Cut. Of sort of the more inexpensive pressed glass punch bowls, this was the creme de la creme. This was really the nice one. It was more expensive than the others a little bit, but it really was quite grand, and a very large punch bowl. If you were having a really big gathering, I don't know the capacity of this offhand, but most punch bowls were, 6, 7, 8 quarts in that neighborhood, and this one is much more than that. This might be 10 quarts even. I've not measured it, but that's the Early American Press Cut by Anchor Hocking. So while we are talking about Anchor Hocking, let's look at some other Anchor Hocking sets here that they put out. Here is the Anchor Hocking Arlington. This is an 18-piece punch set. The pattern is Arlington. You can see here, service for 8. This has a 6-quart punch bowl, and it has 8 7-ounce cups, and then you've got clear plastic hangers and a ladle. So that's what you get in this design. It has sort of a nice scalloped edge there, and that they made the Arlington for some time. Was a very popular design. Above this, here we have the Anchor Hocking Modernistic Punch Set. 26 pieces. That sounds like a lot, but what it is 12 cups, 1 bowl, 12 hangers, they're plastic, and 1 ladle. Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, Lancaster, Ohio. But this one is really just, you can see, an unadorned bowl. There is no design pressed into the glass or the cups. It's very clean. As a matter of fact, sometimes you see this in a thrift shop or somewhere, and you could buy that glass bowl, and it was a salad bowl. So These glass companies were very clever in the way that they would package pieces together to make new things. So in this case, they took that salad bowl design, and now here we are with some matching cups, and you've got a punch bowl. Then we've got another very popular Anchor Hocking design. This is the Vintage, is the name of this pattern. This particular one is milk white. So this is milk glass. It came in clear, and yes, of course, I have both. And this one, 27 piece, has one more piece than the Modernistic because this one incorporates a base. Sort of like the early American press cut had a stand, this one has a base. Here, it basically is an upside down bowl, and I have a number of these bowls that were sold separately as bowls. But here, the Vintage design features the vine and grape pattern throughout the base, the bowl, and the cups. And again, this was very, very popular and a little bit more elegant because it sat up higher because of that base, and it was it's a nice one, and particularly the milk glass having that really depending on the color of punch you make, really pops against that white glass. Let's take a look here at another popular American glass manufacturer that made a lot of punch bowls. And this is Hazelware, the Hazel Atlas Glass Company. And this particular one is the Williamsburg 15-piece punch service. I love that they called it a punch service. Polished press cut crystal. So if you look, you'll see this one has a base or a stand as well. Again, folks, these are nothing but upside down bowls. Okay, and these were in production and sold separately. You could buy them that way. And these cups also, in many cases, were part of what we call snack sets. I did a video on that as well. And so, again, it was a creative way to put a pattern together with things that you already had molds for or were in active production. So this is the Williamsburg. Again, it's got this sort of nice scalloped edge, and it's a very nice punch bowl set. Here is another Hazelware punch set. This is the Lexington 18-piece prism cut punch set by Hazelware. Now this one does not have any kind of base or stand, and you'll see how they pictured it. They put it actually on a little riser there, and they have this pretty green punch, whatever it is, with strawberries. Looks pretty good to me. And I will draw your attention. They sold a lot of these, and sometimes you'll see these in the thrift stores. And again, 45 years of thrifting, I have seen a lot of these punch bowls, and the top has this almost tooth-like pattern that comes out all the way around. You have all of these little teeth, and I'm telling you, I can't count how many of them I saw with broken teeth, chipped or broken off. And I could see washing this thing out with the slippery soap suds, and into the sink it goes, and these little teeth will chip off. So if you find one that is intact, it's your lucky day. and luckily this one is intact. I will also turn the box here and point this out, which is sort of fun, that often these punch bowls came with recipes. Now, Anchor Hocking had a little recipe book that they would put inside the box. But what Hazel Atlas did is they just printed it right here on the side of the box. And look here, Rosy Glow Bunch, Pink Party Punch, Cranberry Punch, Strawberry Delight, and Sweet 16 Punch. So you had some fun recipes right here on the box, which I thought is kind of cool. I will tell you, I haven't tried any of these. They all sound pretty good to me. Again, do you have a punch that you like to make? Why don't you share it with us or tell us about it? Because, again, making punch was really a popular thing. So here's one more Hazelware punch set, and this is the Williamsport. This is a 26-piece press cut punch set. I really like this set. I have a few of these, and what I like about them is that the bowl and the cups are almost a square shape. They have rounded corners, but they're very squarish. I love the shape of it. It has a very kind of a smooth, scalloped edge around the rim, which I like. This is a 6.5 quart bowl, and again, 12 cups, which is pretty standard, 12 hooks, and 1 ladle. And that's the Williamsport by Hazelware. So here is another few punch bowl sets from other manufacturers. This one is the Princess. Every princess should have their own punch bowl set. This is made by Indiana Glass Company in Dunkirk, Indiana. So actually not made in sort of the main glass manufacturing region of the country, but this was a popular set, and it sort of combines elements from a Hazel Atlas set and an Anchor Hocking set. If you look around the edge here on the rim, it's got those teeth. Again, this is another set that, this is another set where you can just see chipping these is a real possibility when you're washing the punch bowl. And it also, so that it kind of, that's reminiscent of the Hazelware Lexington, but then you've kind of got a little bit of this Anchor Hocking vintage thing going on with the grape and vine pattern pressed in throughout. And that is the Princess pattern from Indiana Glass. Now, here's the Jubilee Punch Set. This is one of my favorites. This is a 27-piece set. This has got a 7-quart punch bowl. And you'll see it has a base. Again, I have many of these bowls, both in clear glass and in milk glass. Federal Glass Company, Columbus, Ohio, made this bowl. It was very popular, and you could buy it at many discount department stores and dime stores. But they used it with the same pattern for the punch bowl that it sat on. So, again, another creative use. You get the hangers, you get the cup matching cups, the ladle. There you are, party in a box. The Jubilee punch bowl set. And then above that, we have from Jeannette Glass, we have the Crystal Fruit punch set. Jeannette Glass was in Jeannette, Pennsylvania, and they made all kinds of things, glassware, including punch bowl sets. This has got the 8.5 quart bowl. You'll see what's interesting about this design is you've got the bowl, and down here where other punch bowl sets had a base, they had sort of incorporated into the design of the bowl a base, but it's all one piece. But what that did is it added volume to the interior space of the punch bowl. So it's 8.5 quarts. This is one of the larger sort of standard punch bowls. And you get 8 cups and 8 hooks and a ladle with that. Now, this has an original price tag here, and I can't zoom in that tight, unfortunately, for you to see it. I don't think I can. Let me see. No. But I will read it to you. Nisner's. For those of you who are from the Detroit area like me or other parts, this part of the country, Nisner Brothers was a popular dime store chain. I think they were in business through the 1960s, but they were akin to a Woolworth, a Kresge, McCrory, J.J. Newberry, stores like that. And this came from Nisner Brothers, and the price, $2.99. Now, of course, we always have to adjust for inflation, but even then, $3 for a punch bowl set didn't probably break the bank, and it was just something, if you were having a party, that you went out and got. Okay, so now we're going from sort of discount department store, dime store punch bowls to something a little more, because no matter what the given item is, there's always people who want something better, something nicer, something more. And in this case, here's a punch bowl set called the Moderno 14-piece. And the 14 pieces are the punch bowl, a dozen cups, and the ladle. And this is made by a company named Reichskrisa. And I think they were in Nebraska. But let's take a look at the punch bowl, huh? Now this, my friends, is what we call deluxe. First of all, look at the shape of this bowl. Just beautiful. This is very thick, very heavy glass. And following the shape of the bowl are these cups with a built-in handle. You can see, look at that. And the ladle, which is glass, okay? All the ones we've seen thus far have these plastic ladles, which in some ways I kind of like, because you drop that ladle in the bowl with too much force and party's over, folks, if that ladle breaks. But again, it's all glass. For there are people that we're not having plastic anything. Well, here you go. This is quite elegant, and this was not an inexpensive punch bowl when it was new. Not sure what it retailed for, but believe me, it wasn't $2.99. Again, it's beautiful. It's kind of a piece of art to me. Very modern. And I think it's just gorgeous. So there is an example of a high-end punch bowl. Here I offer you one more example of a very high-end punch bowl. Again, this is very high society. But again, for those who wanted something better or best, this set was made by the Ellie Smith Glass Company in Mount Pleasant, PA. And it is absolutely beautiful. The pattern is called Dominion. I can't even tell you how heavy this thing is. I mean, glass isn't lightweight, I understand, but if you could get an idea of the gauge, the thickness of this glass, it is absolutely heavy and beautiful. The bottom has this really gorgeous diamond design, as does the tray it sits on. And then it sort of morphs into these petals that come up the side. And the tray has the identical pattern with the diamond cut in the center and the petals that come out. And each petal holds a glass, a cup for your punch. This punch bowl set, when you look down on it, looks like a beautiful flower. It's really just an elegant, elegant design. And I want to thank my friend Jeff who found this for me somewhere in the Chicago area. And this is just always, when I use it, this is a showstopper. This is a centerpiece. Again, it's big. It takes up a lot of space, and it holds a lot of punch. But boy, is it beautiful. And so there's another example of a higher-end punch bowl set. So, food friends, thank you for spending time with me as we just looked at a few samples of the wonderful world of punch bowls from the Cavalcade collection. So I hope you enjoyed this vintage houseware episode. If you did, hit the like button. More importantly, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Oh, I have a website. It's called cavalcadefood.com. And if you go there, you can connect to all the episodes here at Cavalcade of Food, as well as my other YouTube channel, Always Analog, and my Saturday morning radio program, the Cavalcade Radio Hour. I hope you'll check it all out. In the meantime, I hope you are all well, and I'll look forward to seeing you again here real soon on Cavalcade of Food. Bye, everybody.